Hey guys, basically I'm back here, and today I have the new FNAF Help Wanted 2 Funko Pops, or at least 5 of them. There are 2 others, both of which being variations of Roxanne, but I wasn't able to find them. But I was actually able to find the Funko Fusion Freddy Fazbear with Pizza Launcher figure as an exclusive or bonus for this video, which I'll probably open up, but you know, that's for later. We're gonna get into the FNAF Help Wanted 2 Pops. Guys, I'm just gonna be so real with you. I spent like 10 more minutes on this stupid intro than I needed to. I'm just gonna get into it right now, starting off with DJ Music Man. But before I open him up, I'm just gonna address the obvious, that being that he's kind of a little bit small. Now, obviously, DJ Music Man is, you know, a very big guy, and that would be kind of hard to incorporate into a figure of the same scale. But then again, they made Mangle, so I wouldn't put this past them. But who knows? I mean, I'm still fine with it. The figure just looks good to begin with, so I'm just not going to waste any more time and give my thoughts on the figure itself. And here he is. So outside of the size, this is actually a really good figure just in general. And it works with Funko Pops because, you know, Funko Pops obviously are just dark black eyes. And DJ Music Man has nothing but that. The sculpt, it's just really well made. And it's very accurate to how they got his like little spider bottom or whatever, and they also put, you know, the trademark on the belly part. I'm considering that the belly and this the butt. One thing to note that I'm honestly kind of impressed by is how Funko was able to, you know, to add like 6 limbs onto this thing and not have it feel like it's gonna fall off like U2's Mangle or something. Other than that, his colors are accurate, you know, the mold, like I've already said, and it's just a really good pop. Really, the only thing is that if they made a bigger one, you know, peak perfection. But, you know, I am very happy with what we got, though. And, you know, it's reasonable, I would say, because considering what Funko's going through right now, we might not ever get that, so I'll take what we have right now. Next up is Vanny, and I think I'm just gonna say the one thing I appreciate Funko for doing, you know, for the fact that they're doing a Help Wanted 2 wave, and it's just that it gives them the excuse to go back to do old characters instead of, like, you know, just not ever doing them again. Yeah, we got the Wizards after so long, but, you know, this is a better excuse, so I'm not gonna waste any more time. And here with Vanny, I'm gonna be honest, you know, when this figure first got revealed, I thought it looked very goofy, and not the good kind of goofy, like the bad kind of goofy, like just toys kind of goofy. But now that I have this figure in hand, I can say that Vanny is probably just fine, you know. There's nothing really wrong here. Then they did a much better job than their action figure in the plushie, most definitely. So I'm glad that we actually have a good piece of Vanny merch, but, you know, that's not a high bar considering everything we've gotten of her, and that's practically nothing good. I mean, I guess the statue, but other than that, this is pretty much it. I don't really know what I could say that could, you know, improve this. I mean, maybe make the eyes bigger, or maybe, you know, move the ears a little forward, but I don't know. It just looks like she has a big forehead, like the Just Toys freaking danglers, and that's not a good thing. But her body, on the other hand, is actually really well made, even with all the patches and the details. Like, the body is, okay, nope, not gonna turn that around again. The body, it's really well made, and I would say the head is too. It's just, there's something about it, and I can't say for sure, although I do appreciate how the stitch marks on Vanny, like throughout the whole body, is all like, they're all like, you know, poking out and not just like painted on or printed on or however they add details otherwise. So yeah, I would say Vanny's a pretty good one if you have her in hand, and I mean, that could just be me though, so who knows. But let's see if my thoughts are the same on Glitchtrap. And my concerns with Glitchtrap are basically the same as Vanny's, where, you know, at first, you know, he didn't look good, and I thought he looked kind of mid, and you guys know me, I'm a Glitchtrap stan. I love all pieces of Glitchtrap merch we get outside of U2's, but, you know, how does this figure hold up? I mean, same kind of issue with the big forehead, or the big head. Like, I think the problem is that, you know, they made Fanny's forehead like a little bit too wide, and the same kind of goes for Glitchtrap, where Glitchtrap has more of a circular head, and it needs to be a much smaller head. Not like, I feel like the head itself is fine, but the shape of it needs to be more round. It also doesn't help that they didn't even give him his freaking buttons. Like, they gave him all these stitch marks. They didn't even give him the stars on the vest. So yeah, already not a good start, but I will say this is probably the most accurate color we've had to Glitchtrap since I don't know. The YouTube figure, not even that though. And I do kind of wish, this is a very subjective criticism, but you know, I do kind of wish his eyes were purple instead of just, you know, plain white. Like I said, that's very subjective but then again, Glitchtrap's most notable feature, I feel like, is his purple eyes. So, you know, for them to just kind of not add that feels kind of like a wasted opportunity. But, you know, other than that, this figure is actually pretty decent. Definitely the weakest Glitchtrap piece of merch that we've had, and there's not that many of him, unfortunately. So once again, not a high bar like Vanny, but you know, we're not gonna get into that anymore. We're gonna move on to Jacko Moon, who is also a Hot Topic exclusive. I guess I should also mention where you can even get these figures. There's 3 notable places right now, that being GameStop, Hot Topic, and Box Lunch. So if any of those are in your vicinity, then I recommend going there for one of these. But you know, enough talk. Now getting into this figure. And you know, I guess I shouldn't even be surprised that Funko made this figure, considering they're milking for Sun and Moon. This was basically inevitable. But you know, as to the figure itself, it's Jacko Moon, and you know, Jacko Moon is just a carbon copy almost, except for some details of Sun and Moon, or Moon, I guess. It's just using basically the same design, but just a different pose, because that's just how Jacko Moon is. I will say though, it's interesting to see the color choices on this. Not saying they're not accurate, but for the longest time, I've never been able to find a good render of Jacko Moon that had like a very accurate color. I mean, yeah, there's probably some now, but when I was making my custom, this was just not existing ever. But anyways, the figure itself, it's good. It has all the details it should, but I do feel like the orange on the back should be like black or something, or gray, or I don't know. It just looks very odd that it's just orange as well, because that's not how it is. But you know, other than that, it is good. Also, you could see like the little, like, I don't know what it is, but you know, the other fluff thing, not a fluff thing. I'm gonna move on before I make more people angry, and I'm gonna make more people angry by freaking dropping Vanny. But okay, now the last figure of the Help Wanted 2 wave is Scrap Baby, but this is not the last figure we're reviewing today, because we have the Funko Fusion Freddy, but we're gonna get into this first. Once again, the Help Wanted 2 line is a great excuse for Funko to go back to old characters they didn't make, because, you know, without Help Wanted 2, Funko wouldn't have the excuse to make Scrap Baby. And I'm glad they made her, because she already looks really good, outside of a few things that I'll get into. But interestingly enough, I think this is the only FNAF figure that Funko has given this little peg to, because usually like this little like translucent stand thing is only given to like Funko figures that are like high up in the air or doing a pose of them jumping or flying. But no, this is just to support Scrap Baby standing up. So you can imagine this figure is probably really heavy, and you know, she could still turn her head just a little bit, but I don't want to break it, unlike how many people have with the action figure. I'm just throwing out things left and right, but I feel like I don't need to say much on the details, because they are really, really good and really accurate too. Even when it comes down to the smallest things on the smallest body, like, it's really well made, and I gotta give props to Funko for this. I will admit though, I feel like they could have maybe done something with her hair. It looks just a little bit sloppy. Not just with the paint. I mean, the paint is a little bit like just a tiny bit sloppy. I feel like they could have done something to make it, like, they could have added like some different texture to the hair just to make it stand out, or make it look more messy, because it kind of looks like a glob from the front. No offense or anything, or just, you know, but that's just me. That could just be me. But that is the Help Wanted 2 Funko Pop line, or at least of the ones I have right now. I will obviously end up getting Roxanne and maybe the other version down the line, and who knows if we're going to make a video on them, because I'm starting to make less videos on just one figure. But speaking of one figure, we have one figure left, and that is the Funko Fusion Freddy exclusive thing. He's not actually exclusive, but I guess I should also say, I found this guy at Box Lunch, and that's the only place I've been able to find him so far. So if you want to guarantee getting this guy for your Funko Fusion Pop collection, then I guess go to Box Lunch. I'm gonna be honest, did anyone even know that Funko Fusion even came out? I swear, it had just the tiniest bit of marketing, and yet no one even cared about it. The only way I knew it was out was like by Dawko, and that was it. But, you know, the only videos Dawko made of it was for Freddy Fazbear, and here is the Freddy Fazbear figure. This is what Fortnite craves for, Scott. What are you doing? you give it to Funko, but not fucking Fortnite. But, you know, considering that this is Funko we're talking about, and this is the OG Freddy model for, you know, the Funko Pop, it means there's still the inaccuracies like the upper teeth and the stripe on the hat, which I'm gonna be so for real. I feel like it gives the Pop a bit more character, given that it's there. Yeah, it's inaccurate, but then again, I feel like if it wasn't, it'd just be just Freddy, you know? I feel like it has a special charm to it, like how every YouTube's does, except the eyes look fucking stupid every time. But the only real difference with Freddy here is his pizza launcher, which just looks silly. This is what Fortnite craves for, like I already said. And yeah, there's not much to say. It's literally just Freddy with a gun. And if you pick up a Funko Fusion, you know, figure, you would know that they also come with this little card that has a code inside to basically, I don't know for sure. I've never played Funko Fusion. I do actually want to play it now that I have this freaking thing. But the thing is, the only available freaking version of the game was the deluxe edition. I was like $10 more than 30, which I was willing to pay for. But who knows? I might just go for it because I have this thing and I don't want to have it. I want to relive the Skylander days, guys. Just trust me on this. But I'm not even sure how the code works. If it's like you just input it into the game and, you know, you just immediately get Freddy Fazbear. I'm pretty sure that is how it works, but, you know, I won't know for sure until I get the game, which I might just get off the eShop, which is probably the same price. And I don't even know if they have it on the eShop. Yes, I'm a Nintendo guy. Get over it. But that is it for today's review. Another review where I spend too much time talking, so I'm gonna let you guys off the hook now. Thank you guys so much for watching. I may or may not review the Roxanne Pops. If I get both or one of them, I don't know. But, you know, considering how this might be Funko's last line of FNAF stuff, it's just kind of sad. If you don't know, then just look at this. But, you know, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I am still working on stuff. I'm currently in the works of an episode of Fractured right now, for those who care. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.
I stay lit, not like flickering lights. Good vibes and good times go well like chicken with rice. Squad goes, it's me, myself, and I, and just like smart homes. Trust me, the whole club know I arrived. I just wanna step over a velvet rope and people yell my name like a welcome home. Shower me in love, my umbrella's closed. The club going up just like how swelling's grow. Put on my finest pair of clothes, club so packed I could barely